Mary, if you would like to start it out, being the eldest child, you have to unmute. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for making it easy for me. So, okay, here I go. When I think of my dad in my childhood, I remember. I don't remember crying, but playing She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain as a duet on the piano with him, skipping side by side down Brighton Street from St. Francis Xavier after Sunday Mass, watching him have the time of his life during block water fights, being held in my father's arms while dancing to country songs, bike riding almost every day with my brothers and him, our first summer in Loomis. The last part of the journey was always a race to see who got home first. Playing pickle in the front yard in Penryn on long summer evenings. Father-daughter dinner dances in high school. I enjoyed dancing with my dad. As an adult, I treasure most the long talks, the enveloping hugs, the shared sorrow, traveling, especially to see distant family, literary legends, and historical sites. The family dinners, holidays, and get-togethers. The emotional and physical support for me and my children after my husband died. My father taught me to live in the moment and to be present to those I was with. To be generous with my smiles and hugs. To be grateful for the little things. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, chocolate chip cookies, a good ballet or choral performance, a fall color. To be grateful for the bigger things, family, ideals, dreams, good literature and art, history,
Right.
and my homeland, the United States of America. To be merciful and forgiving. Thank you, Dad, for being my dad. As he used to say to me and my brothers,
I'll let you do that.
I love you, like you, and see you tomorrow. To my dad, I miss you, and I love you forever.
Oh, that was terrific there. Oh. Robert?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of my family, I would like to thank you for joining us today for the celebration of life for my father, Mike Donahue. Mike has shaped and touched our lives in numerous ways, and we are gathered here to remember those memories. I would like to start by how he shaped my life from both his work ethic, love of life, family, and traveling. I learned that through focusing on what was in front of you and working hard, you can accomplish most anything. His love of life shows in that I can't seem to recall a picture without him smiling. He showed me that family is what it is all about, and you could see that he was, because it tied into his love of traveling. At an early age, we traveled every summer via an RV. It was there on our travels and adventures that I saw how to work through new experiences and learning to see that obstacles are just new challenges. It also piqued my interest and celebrated the differences of people that we came across. Of course, I couldn't end without talking about my experiences with him on the golf course. I was exposed to the game through seeing his brothers compete for a trophy, and I love the competitive nature of the game. It is truly a game for life, and it shows you how to handle the highs and the lows and to give it all you have, then to move forward. I am comforted in the fact that our very last game together, and on the very last hole, he shanked a shot that almost hit me, that I had to jump up vertically so that it did not. And then I proceeded to bury the hole, a memory that will last forever. I am consoled by the fact that he will live on through both the memories and stories that we have of him and his great-grandchildren. Thank you for joining us today.
Okay, Tommy. Thank you, Robert. That was great.
Yes. I haven't lived in Sacramento for 30 some odd years, so most of my experience with my dad is probably like most of yours with his motorhome, coming and going. Most of my experiences with him over the last 30 years have been around that, occasionally coming back for Christmas and seeing him at my parents' home. And I'm sure most of us have kind of experienced that, him coming in his motorhome and leaving in his motorhome or leaving with us in his motorhome. And the memories that I have of my dad are his pancakes and his hot dogs microwaved in his microwave in the motorhome, margaritas, and travel and experiencing new places and seeing new people and new friends of his, and meeting a lot of you through those experiences in his motorhome where he spent a lot of time. He's going to be dearly missed by us. We loved him dearly, and hopefully we'll continue on in those experiences and traveling and meeting new people and learning to love life as much as he did. And anyway, that's it.
Oh, thanks, Tom. Great, absolutely great. Yep, John? You have to unmute yourself, John, or Mary.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'd like to say thank you to everybody. My dad was very important to me. He gave me inspiration. He gave me a lot of hope in life. He accepted me who I am. It is something that I really appreciated about him is his willingness to accept people and all friends and stuff like that. It's all the friends he's had over life, he's kept. He's let things just go. If things go bad, he just lets them go. And he just really meant everything to me. It's really hard to believe that he's not here right now. It's like I'm waiting for him to come back from a trip from the motorhome. It seems like he just will come back from that. But I really appreciate my dad for what he did for a whole family. But it's I love him. And thank you again. That's all.
It must be the youngest of the families that take it hard, but that was great. Excellent. Tim, are you out there? I don't see.
Yes.
You.
Oh, Tim.
There. Wait, Tim, not Jim.
Okay.
He's older than you, Jim. Is Tim out there? I don't see him.
Where is Aunt Diane and Tim?
Are you muted? Did you mute yourself back over?
I don't know.
Jim, it's your turn. I don't know where Tim's at.
They were on.
Yeah, I didn't see him. They can come back on later or catch up. It's fine. Go ahead, Jim.
I'm the third brother, the most favorite of the brothers. No. Lived in Burbank, and Burbank was 2911 North Myers Street was the hub of the street, and it was all because of Mike. He pulled everybody and anybody into the street, whether it be football or baseball or forts or games or overnight campouts in the backyard or hiking into the mountains up there in the Burbank Hills. There's so many stories. There's so many exciting times that we had together. He was a leader. He was a lover of people. Never witnessed a bad bone in him. In fact, the four of us got along wonderful. I think a testimony of our family, the others can testify. I don't even remember an argument we ever had or anything of that nature. We just loved each other, got along. And some way, somehow, we just flowed together as we grew up in Burbank. Yeah. This is my wife, Lydia, by the way, sorry.
Yeah.
And laughter all the time. There was never a dull moment in the Donahue house, as far as I remember. His friends, he incorporated me with his older friends. I was a little bit behind him, about 5 years. But anyway, we just had great times together, football games at the parks, tag football. I think one of the guys here is on, he remembers, forget your name. But anyway, we just grew up having a wonderful family. And my wife and I got married 46 years ago, and that's when we left Burbank. So as far as connecting with Mike and Joan and the kids over the years was, we'd go down and touch base with them on Thanksgiving or Christmas and had great times there. Went on some trips with him on his motorhome. Of course, there's always junk food and everything. My dad sold junk food. They sold, obviously, vending machine junk food. And it's amazing that we're not 500 pounds each. But anyway, we just had a great time. Went a couple trips with them, enjoyed it, of course. You're right, the hot dogs and just snacks and fun. So he has left a deep hole in my heart. I love my brother. The golf games were incredible. Some way, somehow, he beat me most of the time, but I still, it's a wonder that we just always connected so very, very well. It was an exciting lifetime living with my brother all the way up until December. Communicating with him on phone many times, a lot of discussions, about religion, about politics, about everything. So we'll miss him greatly. No more phone calls in that direction other than to Joan and the kids, but we had an outstanding family time together in Burbank and beyond that. He will be missed.
Oh, thanks, Jim. That's terrific. So thank you all, Mary, Tommy, Robert, Johnny, and Jim for that. And I'd like to also welcome you all. I'm so sorry that we started out with two of these memorials. I think it's best that we worked it all into one. Emotionally, for me, it's best anyway. But I appreciate the Gilberts all. I appreciate the Donahue and Gilberts and friends all being together. And also at this time, I would like to remember Andrew Delacruz and Peggy Gilbert and Sean Donahue, who passed away too young also. And of course, the patriarchs of the family, Orville and Mary Gilbert and Leo and Edna Donahue. You know, it's a great testimony to those patriarchs of how many great people that have come down from them. And that's just an awesome thing. So anyway, so any successful marriage, someone has to deal with the everyday issues. Mike worked hard.
Dad, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you get closer to your microphone?
Yes, no, that's fine. Yeah, that's my daughter telling me what to do. That wouldn't be the first time, actually. So anyway, any successful marriage, someone has to deal with the everyday issues, taking kids to school, dinners, lunches, all that goes on. Now, Mike worked hard all his life, but he was definitely the life of the party and the happy guy. But I have to recognize his wife, Joan, for certain, for taking care of all the other stuff that had to be done. So Joan, thank you for, for doing that, and just want to recognize you for that. You are the unsung hero of 54 years. We have some great pictures of you coming up, by the way. Anyway, I believe that family and friends you keep are the reflection of who you are. And starting with his kids and how great they are and how tremendous the grandkids have turned out, and the friends that Mike kept, many of them for way over 50 years, that testimony really says it all, actually. You know, he's just got a way of, when he came into a room, people would just love him. And he would be a mentor to some, to friends for others, for a drinking friend for others, a drinking friend for others. Oh, did I say that already? Yes, yeah. And but from his brother's standpoint, and our spouses and our kids all adore him. We have over 100 or about 100 slides that you'll be seeing here shortly. And all of them are this great infectious smile, and laughter, and nothing but just fun things about him. My dad passed away when I was 13. A little bit like Noah and Gabe, and mostly Mike and my brothers all stepped in to help raise me, as Mike did for Noah and Gabe. He was my brother, my baseball coach. He wasn't very good at that, quite frankly. But anyway, my boss, business partner, and my best friend, as he was for many of you. And I wrote the poem that was attached to this. I'm not going to read the whole poem, but I am going to say this, the last two stanzas. A father, a husband, grandfather, brother, uncle, few could compete. The world's a sadder place now that his life is complete. Our journey continues without him to hug and laugh. Now we must spread the love and happiness on his behalf. And I think that's our journey going on without him, for certain, to remember him and to try and bring his life to real with his memories. But that is our deal. Like Mary said, you know, mercy and grace, and hardly met anybody he didn't like. And God bless him. Absolutely.
Tom,
Okay. Yes.
I think Diane and Tim were able to reconnect. So,
Oh, okay.
Di, if you're out there and Tim wants to talk,
Okay, great.
go ahead and unmute yourself.
Guy? We can come back to him, honey.
Okay.
Do any of the grandkids have their hands up, or do you want to speak? You can do it by chat too.
Hey, Uncle Tom,
Yeah.
Angela, can you let Noah in, please?
Oh, yep. Let's see that.
Thank
There we
you.
Oh,
Thank you.
go ahead, Noah. You have to unmute. No?
He says, go ahead for a moment while he tries to figure it out. So I'm not the only technologically challenged.
I see Michael has his hand up.
Oh, Michael has his hand up.
Go
Okay.
ahead and talk, Michael.
Hi, everyone. I'm Grandpa Mike's grandson. I'm also named his same name. So it was kind of good throughout my life to be named after a great person. And it's been nice to spend so much time with him. For the last 8 years of my life, I stayed at his house, or his and grandma's house, and I got a lot of exposure to us things. And, you know, he taught me so much throughout life, and all the adventures that me and my cousins got to go on together. I mean, I don't know any other families that have cousins that love each other. I mean, we're all brothers. There's only 2 girls, so they're on their own. But it was just such a great family. Even my aunts and uncles as well. I mean, I don't see many families that are like this, that we can all come together and spend time together. And it's just always nice being around the whole family and having a grandfather who was so caring and so loved by so many people.
That's great, Michael. And hi, Samantha.
Hi.
And this is my wife, Sam. We got married back in May of 2020.
Yay. Welcome to the family.
Thank you.
Noah, you want to share? Unmute yourself. Okay, good.
Okay, I'll put it next room then. So as I try to find a place that doesn't flake, I don't have a lot to say and I didn't prepare anything, but I have been thinking about everything, and I'm not going to say, you know, anything that you guys all are probably going to say too, you know, what a great man he was and how much he meant to all of us. But the one thing that's stuck in my head a lot over the last month is that, or something I derive a great amount of comfort from, perhaps, is that the last day that I spent with him and Grandma together, if we had known that it was the last time we were going to see each other, we would have spent the day the exact same way we did. We would have said goodbye the exact same way we did. And I suspect that that's true for a lot of you. And he lived his life like that, where, like some of you said, he didn't harbor grudges and he was able to leave on good terms with everyone. Yeah, so that's what I've been thinking about, turning over in my mind. And all I have to say is the last thing I said to him on the Zoom call when he was in the hospital is good luck and Godspeed, Grandpa.
Thanks, Noah. It was great. I can't see any other hands raised on the grandkids.
Cedric wants to talk.
Oh, Cedric. Oh, go ahead, Cedric. Sorry.
All right. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just wanted to say that, well, I love him a lot, like most of you guys probably do, but I also just, the most time I spent with him, since we're obviously not in Sacramento, was at Christmas. And I just remember the sense of community with everybody. And just, even if we didn't know each other, just being in their house and being brought together, we all just like felt connected by Grandpa or Mike. And I also just so fondly remember him like giving gifts, and he was so happy giving gifts. I've never seen anybody that happy giving gifts. And I think he was almost happier than he was receiving them, because he loved to give joy. And I think that's just like a testament to his character, of how good of a person he was and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I love you, Grandpa.
Oh, that's great. And you're right. He loved giving gifts. He loves Christmas. He loves Christmas above anything else. Yeah.
So Tom, I have Tim and Diane on my cell phone. So
Okay.
they are having computer problems.
Okay.
Tim, can you hear now?
Yes, I can.
Tim would like to say just a few words.
Sure.
Go ahead, Tim.
I just like to say to one and all, he was the greatest, and I miss him. And I'm having not that good of a birthday, but the glass is still half full. And I want to say to everyone, that's the way he would like you to spend the rest of your life. And that's all I'll say. Thank you very much.
That's great, brother.
Happy
So
birthday,
it's
Tim.
my brother Tim's birthday today. He turns 80. And it would be like Mike to try and take a little something, away from one of our brothers. I would say that. And it's also Ray Shaw's birthday. So shout out to you too. Okay, good. Where else are we? Jeremy, no? You want to say anything? Okay. Oh, he's gonna unmute. Oh, he's waving.
I can say a few words. My main thing is that he was always like a kind and giving person. I really knew him through coming over, when his mother home, stopping by, saying hello for a couple of nights and hitting the road again, or I see him at Christmas, and like many people have said, everyone getting together. But lately, I was gonna say that as soon as I got into the academy, as I am here now, I remember him every time. I even have a voicemail where when he first heard that I got in, he immediately said, "You're now the Admiral." And that I always remember him calling me the Admiral. And I hope to one day actually achieve that rank in his name.
Oh, great. That's awesome, Jeremy. And, congratulations to you. Getting in the Annapolis is no easy task. But you are a testimony to Mike and Joan and the whole family. Good for you.
Yes, I hope to make all those that came before me, both in family and at the academy, proud that I was able to accomplish this because of them.
That's great. Good, good. Well, I see Haley and Maddie. Yay. Go ahead and unmute.
Hi, everyone. I'm Haley. I'm Maddie. And I just want to say our grandpa was such a special, special person to all of us. And we've really, really lost someone that was not just our grandpa, but our friend. And he just loved us so much and celebrated us and made us each feel so special in our own ways, and knew that we all know that he was proud of us for our own ways too. But it was like he would celebrate our wins and our successes just as much as he would want to hear about our mistakes and our downfalls and laugh with us and hear about what we'd learned from it. So my dad said this kind of earlier, but just Grandpa always had such an unconditional love for us and for every single person, and he's just really going to be missed.
I just want to say, I feel like piggybacking off of what all my cousins said, I feel like some of the best memories I have are with him in the motorhome with my cousins. And I know just from the experience of bringing my friends around and meeting Grandpa, the amount of times they've said, like, you are so lucky. Like, I wish I had a grandpa like your grandpa. And now that he's gone, I just appreciate him even so much more, and everything that he's ever given to us and all the memories he's given us. So I'll miss him a lot. So yeah.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. You did have that way of just making us all feel special. Yeah, but there was one thing about him, though. He would always say, like, I was his favorite brother. And then we'd get in with Tim and Mike, and then, wait, I'm your favorite. No, you're my favorite brother who lives in Dallas or something like that. But yeah, other than that, yes, exactly. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Is Max?
Bill Kane, Tom. Bill Kane.
Pardon me?
Bill Kane.
Oh, wait, is Max out there anywhere? I don't see him. I don't see Gabe. Maybe they can share later, or if they don't, that's fine. I don't want to pressure anybody. I did talk to Gabe, or I texted him today, and is he on by any chance, Angela?
Yeah, it looks like he's on.
Okay, well, if he wants to join later, it's fine. No problem. Oh, there's Gabe. He's got his hand raised now. You see him?
Hey, everybody.
Okay. Hey, Gabe.
Hi, I'm another grandchild.
Yes.
I don't really feel like sharing too much just because I can't keep my act together over here. I'm bawling my eyes out.
Me too, buddy.
And my mom a couple of days ago texted me and was okay. My mother texted me and she was just saying, hey, you should think of if you have a special memory with your grandfather. If you want to share, you should do that. And it's probably a good thing that I don't have my act together because I might be talking for a long time. One moment that popped into my mind. I spent a lot of time at his office at Diverse Food Systems because my mom rented some space from him. And I was homeschooled, so I spent a lot of time not at school. And so I would do things that I had to do or not. And then my grandfather would say, hey, I'll pay you, 50 cents an hour to do backbreaking work. And I'd be like, that sounds great. All right, sign me up. And I just remember one time we were at the shop putting WD-40 on a bolt or something, trying to get it to come off of the ground. And he got a call from Steve Marsulu, one of his friends. And Steve was like, dude, where are you? And he was like, well, what are you talking about? And he was like, we're supposed to meet for lunch right now. And my grandfather was like, oh, shit, I forgot. Sorry. Well, I won't be able to make it. And then he hung up the phone. And I was like, who's that? And he told me the conversation. And then he was like, well, I'd rather be here with you anyways. And it was just like a simple moment of appreciation for me. And I appreciate him for that. So.
That's great, Gabe. Thank you. I know it's hard. Gabe and I got to spend a little bit of time about a day or so, about 8 weeks ago before Mike passed, obviously, and that was an amazing time spending it with you and him, obviously in the motorhome once again. But anyway, that was great. Yeah. Okay, Angela, I can't see everybody's hand, but has
Bill
Matt?
Kane.
Bill Kane? Okay, so this is Billy King. This is just kind of put it in context. He's my first cousin, and Anna Marie is his mom, and his dad's Bill Kane from the West Coast. Go ahead, Billy.
Yeah, great. Hello, everybody. It's a real honor to speak in behalf of the King family, who Mike was so appreciated and loved because he was always Anna Marie's favorite cousin.
You're on the telephone, and
I got it, Tom. I got it.
Okay, good.
Oh,
Go ahead, Billy. Sorry.
Okay, good. Great. You just getting one signal now?
Yep.
Yeah, you're good.
Good. Great. Thank you. So anyway, it was always wonderful when Mike and Joan would come to town, and they would park that RV in the driveway at Bellhaven, and all 9 of us would come out and just be amazed by that such a thing could fit in our driveway, and be 3 inches from the house. And it was just such a joy. And Mike was there, and he'd just bring energy and affability, and he was just like the sweetest guy. So Mike and I became good friends, I would say, over the years. And so we had a special relationship, and kind of the communication hub for staying in touch with the Canes, and that was always an honor. And so we will miss him greatly, and just a sweet soul, positive soul, and we just love him, and through that, we just love the Donahues. So on behalf of Anna Marie and Bill and the 9 kids, condolences and love for a sweet guy.
Thanks a lot, Billy. I greatly appreciate that.
So welcome.
We think the same about your family too. I know we don't get to see you as much, but good enough. Okay.
Con Racer, Tom, someone with the name of Connor Racer.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm not believing.
Ray, that's you.
Is that Ray Shaw?
Oh, Ray Shaw. Yeah. Go ahead, Ray.
Connor Racer. Where is Ray on here? Ray, unmute yourself if you can.
All right, how's that?
Perfect.
All right, aloha, everybody. This is my wife, Barbara. First off, condolences to my second family, the Donahues. We love every one of you, and it's a sad time. If you don't mind, I'm going to read a poem that I've always liked. It's short, but a guy like Mike, I think it fits really, really well. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. Now, I'm speaking to my second family. In fact, I think, who was it, Jim? You gave the street address on Myers. I remember your phone number. I called it so much. Victoria 92807.
Oh my God, he got it right.
Did I get it right?
That's crazy.
Mike and I met in 6th grade. We were friends for 62 years, still are. We went everywhere together. I dragged him to Europe. I dragged him all over the United States and Canada. I dragged him up mountains, down rivers. We floated to Colorado and grew beards in 1986. We went everywhere with our families too. I'm looking at some faces that are familiar in a place called the RV. In fact, most of you were on board at one time or another. And I've got a theory about Mike's RV. You remember the fort out in the backyard? Jim, Tom, if you're still on, Tommy, you probably do.
Yes,
I don't know if it was Mike's fort,
Yeah.
but it was a fort. And he'd get us in there after school, and he'd take our nickels and pennies, because that's all we had at the time, playing poker and Monopoly and heaven knows what all. But I never left there with any change in my pocket. And I think that continued pretty much the rest of my life. Well, I think his fort eventually morphed into an RV, a fort on wheels. It was kind of his man cave, kind of like the man cave out on Palm, was it Avenue? So the fort became the man cave, became the RV. So I think Mike liked that. And he'd lure his friends in and take their money. That was Mike. Now, Mike was our best man. Barbara and I just celebrated our 52nd. So it stuck. He did a good job. We went on adventures playing golf. A small anecdote, when we were up in Newfoundland, of all places, we came to a place that had a miniature golf course, but it was closed. So we found a 2x4 and taped an axe to it. And we found a shovel we had golf balls because Mike, you know, golf, and we actually played miniature golf with an axe and a shovel. And I hate to tell you this, but you can guess who won. Mike won. Another adventure we took was on the Baja. Barbara happened to be on this one also. And we were going down the Baja, and I don't know if any of you have done that road, but it's really awful. And it got narrow, and Mike clipped the right side, knocked off his side view mirror in a tree. Hard to imagine there being a tree, but it stuck. So we pulled over, walked back, and there was his side view mirror in the tree, along with a half a dozen other ones. So what did Mike do? Being the mechanical genius that he was, he took the ones that he thought would fit, went back, duct taped them onto the side of the RV, and off we went. Another one in the RV, we were in, I think, northern Minnesota, and Mike and I were up in front driving east. Barb was sitting on the couch in the RV, and all of a sudden she didn't scream, but she shouted, "Mike!" We looked back, and the slide out was moving north as we were going east. And Barbara was out hanging out over the lane of oncoming traffic. So what do? We pulled over, we pushed it back in. Mike took the seat belts on the couch and bolted them into the floor of the RV so to keep in place. Now, one of the special places that's already been mentioned is Bob's Big Boy. And I went with Mike to Toluca Lake, I don't know, hundreds of times. And then we sought them out around the country. Because he liked to put it on everything, he would visit us in our home in Las Vegas, and he would visit us here on the Big Island of Hawaii. So we have Bob's seasoning salt just for him.
That's great.
Now, I just want to say that it's been a pleasure being around the Donahues through the years. I have a big hole in my heart too. I mean, you can't lose a friend like Mike and not have that happen to you. I think you're all wonderful people. I've enjoyed seeing you over the years, and I hope we'll continue to see each other. And if I can, I'm going to read one last thing, and then I'm going to be quiet. And Brother Tommy put me up to this. It's a song. It's a song by a fellow Texan, fellow to Tommy, Willie Nelson. It's titled "Something You Get Through." And Tommy, I don't know if you've shared this with everybody or not, but it's such great poetry. I would encourage you to listen to it online. Let me just read the first part to you. When you lose the one you love, you think your world is ended. You think your world will be a waste of life without them in it. You feel there's no way to go on. Life is just a sad, sad song. But love is bigger than us all. The end is not the end at all. It's not something you get over, but it's something you get through. It's not ours to be taken. It's just a thing we get to do. Life goes on, and when it's gone, it lives in someone new. Thanks for letting me talk.
Oh, thanks, Ray. Boy, lifelong friend. I'll give the YouTube link to that in the thing. It's how I got through Sean's thing and everything else. But thank you so much, Ray and Barbara. Good to see you both.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Okay, who else has their Gilbert's? Anybody over on the Gilbert side want to chime in one way or another? Angela, do we have anybody? You're muted, huh?
Sorry.
Oh, Heather would like to say something, my daughter.
I'll be quick. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Cecile.
Cecile, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, for me, I wanted to let you know that Mike's power to love everybody and discover, and his curiosity for everybody new and every new experience extended to France, where we were so lucky that he joined us twice. And I remember even before this December, I remember just a few months ago asking Jeremy and Cedric, because, sorry, I should back up that since Jeremy's been born, we've been lucky to go to France every other year. So that's over 10 trips. And I asked them, what's your favorite trip to France? And both of them said, the one with Grandpa came with us. So I can also tell you that everybody in France absolutely loved him. Everybody could feel the same thing we all felt, even though his vocabulary in French was very limited. And most of my family did not speak much English, but that didn't stop. And it was just incredible to have him along on 2 trips with us.
Oh, that's great. I know he loved your mother, and your mother loved him. And even though the communication was verbal communication was not much. Yeah.
Tim wants to say a word to Ray.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, Ray, I just want to say, I think you and he started out on the motorhome business with that 63 Ford pickup you and he crossed the United States with. And that was, we were just starting business and we got that truck and Mike says, hey, I want to go on a trip with Ray Shaw. We're going to take the pickup. I go, okay. And down the road he went with you, and it was, he had a wonderful time. And
Hey, Tim, you're right.
that's one of those beautiful things that between 2 lifelong friends, he really enjoyed you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, that's nice to hear, Tim, rather, and happy birthday to you, old timer.
Well, thank you.
I think on that trip, we did go to the World's Fair in New York out of Flushing Meadows, and I think, Mr. Kane, we came and visited you.
Oh, there we go. I think you did, yeah.
We also visited a relative in Atchison, Kansas. Does that ring a bell to anybody?
Yeah,
that's
that
where
is, I'll think of it.
The air pilot, I forget his name. Anyway.
No, that's not him. He was in Florida. Atchison, Kansas was, they had a candy business and they came out and saw us in a 55 Packard with a boxer, and the boxer could jump over the Packard.
Wow. He remembers the car, but not.
It was Dwight Hanna, Tom.
Oh, okay.
Dwight Hanna.
Yeah.
Got it. Good. Oh, great. Okay, Heather, I think you're up next.
I'll be quick because I know we're going to still watch the slideshow, but I wasn't planning on speaking, but I just feel like a lot of people had the same experience that I did. And, I never got a chance to meet my grandfather, and my grandmother had pretty far stages of Alzheimer's when I was born. So Mike was my Donahue grandfather, and he never forgot my birthday. He always called or texted. He was always smiling and laughing, like we all know, but it just meant so much that he just treated me like I was a grandchild, even though I was just a niece. So that was really special, and I'll love him forever. And tonight, Jojo and I will have dessert first before dinner, because that's what he would have done.
Oh, thanks, Heather. Thank you. Anybody else? I think my wife's getting back to the thing. Here's the slideshow. I should have got it going sooner. Sorry about this. there's Mike and at a, well, I'm not quite sure what it was. Anybody else like to say anything?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Hi, it's Lars and Allison, currently on the West Coast. Mike, we had the pleasure of meeting Mike and Donahues when Robert and I lived together while we were in the process of meeting our current wives, and had the pleasure of going to many family Donahue gatherings, tri-tip barbecues, all kinds of things. Never did play golf with Mike and the boys. They're a little bit, more competitive than me at that. And plus, they're always going for that Donahue Cup. But I just wanted to. I had some words, just some real quick words here that I listed that I thought described our, how we felt about Mike. And he also did tell me, quit squinting, get some reading glasses, and I did. So here we go.
We had we had 2 or 3 motorhome visits. So
yeah, when he would come visit us in New York.
Solidified the friendship.
It was great. So honoring the life of Big Mike Donahue. He's full of life. He had that joie de vivre, that joy of life, like Robert said. He was engaging and earnest and warm and intelligent and humorous. And to Allison and I, Mike embodied all the great qualities, but put a golf club, a badminton racket, or a ping pong paddle in his hand, and he was ruthless. But his entire demeanor was an inspiration as to how human beings should treat one another. I'm still getting there myself. But I feel very fortunate to have had Big Mike in my life and leading by example. And if I can emulate his influence on me just a little bit, I know I will be a better person. His spirit lives on in both Allison and I and all of us. And God bless Mike Donahue. Thank you.
Thanks, Lars. That's great. You hit it. You knew him for certain. Michael Bosch. Boy, this is a longtime friend here. This guy goes back to forever. His parents knew our parents in Burlington, Iowa, or mom knew his dad anyway. So go ahead, Michael. Good to see you first of all. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That yes, we do go way back. That Mike's and all the Donahue brothers, their mother, Edna, and Uncle Johnny was my father's best friends in Burlington, Iowa. And in fact, Johnny and Charlotte lived with us when they came to California for a while. And Mike and I used to reminisce about this. And also, the first time I met Mike and Tim was in Santa Fe, New Mexico in 1948. That's a long time ago. And when we were passing through, and unfortunately my grandmother died there. So I remember that experience very vividly. Wow. And then I was standing at the house in Meyer Street, watering the lawn by hand because there was no sprinklers in those days when Donnie drove up with the whole family in that Ford, and that's when they came to California. So we go a long ways back, and there's many thoughts of forts in the Donahue's backyard and in my backyard. We spent every Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, to every holiday together. We would alternate between our house and their house. So I've always thought of the Donahue boys as cousins, even though I don't think we were actually related, but we were about as close as you could be. So wonderful memories. Mike and I connected a couple of times. I bought a trailer and he talked me to come up to Sacramento with us. And we camped in West Sacramento, and I'll never forget. Mike said he was going to do dinner, and dinner was the biggest can of beef stew that I've ever seen that he stuck in the fire. And that was dinner. I thought it was great. And I've done it many times since then. And then we met up in Yosemite with Mike's or with Joan's sister and had a wonderful get together there. And we were planning to get together in Zion Park in October when he was heading for Texas on his last RV trip. And unfortunately, we couldn't get reservations in Zion, and we had to go on over to Bryce. And so we missed connecting. But we've always been connected. We've talked numerous times a year. I feel like I know everyone in the Donahue family because of Mike stories and bringing me up to date, and his visits to my house in Palm Desert, as well as the whole family came down. We had a Donahue Bosch reunion at our house in Ross. So many, many, many wonderful 72 years of memories with Mike. And I'm going to miss him dearly, as I know you guys are. And thank you so much for letting me be part of it.
Oh, Michael, of course. It's great to see you. And next time I'm in Northern California, we will connect for certain. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Jack, go ahead.
Hi, all.
Oh, hello. There we go. Good.
I'm one of Mike's derelict golfing buddies. And I could tell you thousands of stories, but I just have one in particular that speaks to who Mike really was. We were on a flight, a Southwest flight, and every year we had a knockdown, drag out golf tournament, 12 of us, and we would just have so much fun together. And we were on this particular flight going down to Phoenix to have we called it Holy Week. And we were in the back of the plane. Those were the days where they had the seats facing each other, 3, 3, 3, and 3. So we were all back there. And the flight attendant comes back and she's offering us peanuts, right? And so Mike said, "What is that? That's not health food." And she said, do you have something better?" And he reached in the overhead, and Mike always did this on our trips. Reached into the overhead and he pulls out a garbage sack full of candy. And he opens it up and he looks at her and he says, "Piece of candy, little girl?" And she just about fell over backwards. She drug him through the entire airplane, and Mike and her gave candy to everyone in that airplane. Great story about Mike. And hey, Ray Shaw, it was great to see you. Well, I think the last time I saw you was Royal Dornoch.
Oh, wow. Not a bad place to last see somebody for certain. Yeah.
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 Thank you.
That's great, Jack.
I'm sure Jim Williams probably has a story or two too also.
Yeah, Jim, if you're out there and you want to talk, please do that. And Lloyd Martin, I find it a little hard to believe you haven't raised your hand. If you
Well, Joni wants to talk first.
No, I'm second.
Second? All right, hold that thing up there.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, well, listen, I feel a little bit differently about Mike. Mike was he always gave me a hard time. Like the first thing he did was steal my girlfriend, Joan Gilbert, away from me. But I think that was probably going to happen anyhow because Joan's mother liked Mike the best. And another thing I really didn't like about Mike is that he always had more friends than me. And pretty much throughout my life, I wanted to be his best friend, but he always wanted to go to Ray Shaw instead of me. It wasn't fair, Another thing I didn't like about him, he was always bragging about his children, that his children were better than my children. And of course, his grandchildren were even better than that. I've heard so many nice stories about the grandkids and how sweet they were, and how much he loved them and taking them on those trips. one thing you guys probably never heard of before was that when Mike was going to get married, there was a bachelor party. Well, there's nice bachelor parties and there's gross bachelor parties. Well, Mike wanted a nice one. So what we did is we put him in some shorts. We took off his shirt. We put him on the back of a Ford pickup and drove through Bob's Big Boy. And we poured maple syrup all over his body because he had no shirt on. And then we poured feathers all over his body. So we tarred and feathered Michael as we went to Bob's Big Boy.
In Toluca Lake.
My father was a policeman, so he put handcuffs on Mike. And then shortly after that, a policeman came by and said, "Why do you have those handcuffs on?" He was thinking Mike was a criminal. All right, so my last cool thing, I think, is, as you guys all know, we went skiing and golfing alternately every year. And the skiing was just incredibly nice because we all got to bond, but not just bond with our buddies. Mike paid for all the lodging. He had two places. Sorry about my voice. He had two places. He paid for them all. And if Mike hadn't have paid, we would not have been able to bring our sons along, who for the most part broke. One last thing is that, two things. Mike always won. It was just never fair. He always would win in poker. He always would win in golf. He could ski better than me. And the combination of Robert and Mike, they would cheat at golf mercilessly. No, they didn't care how badly they cheated, but they won every time. So you could figure on losing $100 a game at least. So there he is showing off up there. Anyhow, you got a wonderful father, grandfather, husband, and friend, and I'm so blessed to be part of that. Thank you. And here's my wife, Joan. Oh, Joni.
Yeah, this is Jim Williams.
Okay, Jim, go ahead. Yes, please. Yep.
Well, that leads into the fact that Mike always told us he was a gracious loser, but a horrible winner.
That's it.
And I could tell stories till after midnight, but I'll spare you.
Give us one.
Oh, let's see. My favorite, of course, is we were on a motorhome trip with him where we went up the Lewis and Clark Trail in 2004 for the bicentennial.
This is a lie.
No, well, my wife is yelling because I kept a journal and there was a certain controversy that arose over some travel plans we did through the Black Hills. And I actually told them both, and I wrote it down, that, well, history will have to be the judge because they were disagreeing with me. And I said, history will have to be the judge. And usually it's the contemporaneous accounts that count the most. And they would both repeat that I was a liar. And I had to tell my wife, Diane, today, well, now it's just you and me, and I got the contemporaneous record. But on that trip, we played this course in Deadwood, South Dakota, and Mike and I were playing right behind this foursome of these ladies, and you know how he likes to impress the ladies. Well, we were on the green and they were on the tee box right above us, and I had about a 75-foot off the green chip shot, and he sit there and he had about a 4-foot putt to win the hole, and I chipped mine on, it went rolling down and it fell right into the hole. And you all know what a joy it is to see Michael suffer in golf. So that was one. And then the ladies above were just cheering. So it was kind of like the perfect double humiliation for him. So that will always be a treasured memory. And Ray, good to see you. Sitting down there with him bragging in Royal Dornoch at midnight, drinking a lovely Scotch whiskey. Great times.
Mike,
Thanks.
how about Joan?
That's Tom.
Tom, I mean.
What's that?
Can Joan talk?
Here I am.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
I just want to say that we've known Mike, what? Since we were teenagers. We were in the high school club. Lloyd and I was a secretary, and later on as we grew up, we had families. We ran the high school club in Burbank, and Mike Donahue he just wanted to help us so much. He'd go on every trip, and take all the kids and give us good fun games to play. And he was always like that, and then take us in his motor home and go out to the desert and come. And then he just came through Texas a couple of months ago, and we just waved and saw him go on. Oh, I did date him when I was a teenager. That's right. Yeah, but Joan dated Lloyd, so we're even.
Wow. I'm sure there's a joke there, but I'm not.
No, it was wonderful. Both Jones are wonderful girls, so you couldn't have lost.
That's a great statement, Lloyd. Excellent.
Yep.
So is Betty on this? I can't believe Betty doesn't want to try and say something. Can you, Betty?
Is she on there? I don't see her. Maybe.
There's some people off screen.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see Lee and Mary Ann. Where did they go? They were on there.
Lee, do you want to add anything? We're coming to the end here. Any of the Gilberts?
Dad, there's 2 other people on the list that
Okay, who are they? Just go ahead and say.
Christopher Brooks.
Christopher, you want to join in?
Sure. Hi.
Oh, Christopher.
I'm one of the Gilberts. And I mean, Uncle Mike had always been a spectacularly amazing uncle. I think we'll all agree that he always had this very unique and special way about him. He knew how to love not only his family, but his friends, and making them feel not only loved and welcome, but appreciated. And as a young man, he became something of an example I would often think about and thought worth emulating. I personally know he stole the love of all of his nieces and nephews, not only with his attention and affection, but with candy. And it really is hard to pick a few of the memories I will always carry with me of him to share with you all. But perhaps the 2 most memorable are the ones to Disneyland and to Lake Tahoe. And of course, both of them were in his RV. But honestly, the most special memories I personally cherish are the visits we had when he would pass through Portland in his motorhome, and the conversations we always had around a campfire. And I will always cherish and appreciate conversations that always seem to last after midnight. So
That's awesome, Christopher. You're exactly right. A campfire for that guy was like a temple, practically, I'd say. So, yeah, that's great.
One
Yep.
thing.
Yes.
We're making a website for Mike's memorial.
Oh, yeah.
And on that website, you can go on it and tell all the stories you want. And if you do that, many of the stories you can do, only you know the stories. So if you can go on there and save those, we'll all be able to share them for 100 years from now, okay?
Yeah.
But please contribute if you can.
Yeah, that's great. I gave that website hyperlink on the invites a couple times. So good.
All work in progress. So I'll send it out again tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, great, Lloyd. Yeah. Lloyd, I did read some of that, and it seems like you liked Mary Margaret Donahue a little more than the. Don.
He does.
Well, I have to admit that Mary and Heather have stolen my heart all my life. They're crazy, neat girls. I can't stand it. I can't even I don't even like to look at them. They're so sweet.
Well, there's Heather right there. That's perfect.
I know. No, really. How come one family could have Heather and Mary in the same family?
That's true.
Amazing. Okay. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I've always loved them.
Yeah, thanks. Yes. Who else?
Michelle Sager, Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
Wanted to speak?
Don Sager.
Dawn Sager.
Please hop on. I'd love to hear from you. Don, you probably have to unmute yourself or have a young person tell you how to do that. I hear something. There's Toluca, right?
She's supposed to get herself up again.
Is he unmuted, Angela?
I can't see him because of the slideshow. Hold on.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Don.
Okay, here we go. When Mike sold his, first off, I had the good fortune of spending many years with Mike. I was his banker for a long time, and that's where we first met. And golly, what a wonderful human being, and I just enjoyed my time with Mike so much. After he retired and once he had sold his property, I should preface that with before he sold his property, I would go down to his to the shop probably once, twice a week, and he and Dave Goff and I would sit there and have a cocktail or two and shoot the breeze about this, that, and everything and everyone. Had a good time in doing so. But once Mike sold the property, then he had more free time on his hands for lunch. And so when he wasn't in town, wasn't on the road, I should say, with the motorhome, we would get together for lunch once, maybe even twice a week, and had this favorite spot that we would go to, and I pretty much introduced him to it, and he loved it there as I did or do, and we had some of the most fulfilling conversations, and quite often during these conversations, Mike would take great pride in saying how when I died at my funeral or at my memorial service or whatever, he was going to say some real nice things about me, and he'd clue me in on what he was going to say. And to his point, I've had a stroke and a heart attack, and Mike had always enjoyed good health, and so there was every reason to believe that he was right, and I was going to be the one, not the one now speaking, but he would be the one speaking. So unfortunately, he didn't have the chance to speak. I do, and so I spent quite a bit of time putting some stuff together, and unfortunately, I'm not going to have time to say everything, but I would say this. This is what Mike would have said. Mike Donahue here, the left. While you may feel like mourning my demise, I just want you to know that I'm just fine. Let's face it, I had a glorious life, and although I left much earlier than I anticipated, my life couldn't have been more fulfilling. I literally checked all the boxes. An awesome childhood growing up in beautiful Southern California with loving parents and 3 wonderful brothers that I wouldn't trade the world for. A loving and faithful wife who bore 4 awesome children that have all succeeded in the game of life, and who in turn have brought some awesome grandkids into this world. And our family circle was recently blessed with 2 great grandchildren as well. Wow. I was blessed to have been born in America and took advantage of the free enterprise system, establishing a very successful food vending business while having the pleasure of having 2 of my 3 sons and my brother-in-law work in the business and contribute to the huge part of its success. Bottom line, I'm very thankful to have been blessed with much business financial success and personal financial success. I developed wonderful relationships with many business associates, had close lifelong friendships with many people that I first met while growing up in Southern California, and close friendships too numerous to count here in Northern California. Wow, did I enjoy spending time with my friends. I had the good fortune to discover motorhoming during my early adult years. This allowed me to discover much of the beauty of this great country, visit numerous historical sites, all of our national parks, as many of you know, and also to travel with friends and family, getting up close and personal with them in the process. There are certainly many more things that made my life a dream come true. Not the least of which is the fact that I was born into an Irish family and certainly the standard bearer for the luck of the Irish, quote unquote. Some would refer to me as the leprechaun. Wow, wow, wow. So in the end, I would certainly not want any of you to mourn my passing when I had so much to be thankful for. I lived a complete life, and how could it have been any better? Period. I love America. How many times did we hear him say that? I love America.
Exactly.
What a guy. Mike
Doc.
was a terrific listener and took a genuine interest in what others had to say. He never had anything bad to say about anyone. He loved and was more fond of his grandkids than they will ever know. State fair outings were especially enjoyable for him and you grandkids as well, I'm sure. He was the eternal optimist. The world would be fine. You know, when all that was going on in the world and we'd sit down and I'd be pissing and moaning about this and that, Mike would always say, well, hey, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. He knew something about everything and loved history. I mean, there was one time that we were at dinner and a friend's grandson, who's very knowledgeable about all kinds of history, and he's probably about 25 years old, but he was going on and on about, I think it was Napoleon Bonaparte and French history, and he kept talking, and it was like, wow, you know, this guy really knows what's going on. Of course, I'm sitting there with his grandfather, and we're just sort of gazing off into the sky. Mike's intently listening, and at some point in the conversation, Mike just added on to what the guy was saying, and it was like the kid stopped, and it was like, wow, this guy knows what I'm talking about. That was Mike. Mike was always fun to be around. In summary, I couldn't have been asked for a better friend than Michael. And he, during many of the summer evenings, he'd stop by the house and the family would be there, and my grandkids would be playing in the pool and whatnot. Mike would always take time to talk to them and just take a real interest in them and want to know what was going on, and would share some sage words with them.
Oh, that's great. That's great, Don.
At any rate, once again,
Yeah.
I couldn't have possibly asked for a better friend than Michael. And with all due respect to his blood brothers, Michael and all, Michael will always be thought of as my brother as well. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Don. That's very meaningful. I would like to get that part. If you could just send me an email, that'd be awesome. I think you pretty well nailed it on what he would think for certain. Thanks, Don. Good seeing you too. Long time. Okay, Lee Gottwals. I believe you are next.
All right, I think I'm muted. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm sorry.
Blessings to you and your wonderful wife. Yeah. Okay.
And Kirk is here too.
Oh, Kirk. Yeah. Well, Kirk, you're secondary or tertiary.
Yeah, of course I am secondary. And I think both other boys are online too.
Oh, great. Go ahead.
Yeah. We have had the greatest times of all with Mike and the boys and Mary and all our vacations and trips to the cabin. And really, even though Mike was a good poker player, I don't remember him cheating. But at football, he makes his own rules.
Yes.
So he has a tendency to make his own rules at a lot of different things. But we had to survive through that. And we loved Mike for everything that he did with our family and your families. And I'm not much of a speaker, so if Kirk wants to say something, he can speak up.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your dad, husband, your grandpa, your friend. We enjoyed so many times, and it'll definitely be left an incredible imprint on our lives. I just remember him laughing so hard, giggling. We would tell so many jokes, stay up late at night up in Tahoe with the Moguls portion of our trips. And then Mulligan's, my dad hosted that down in Ventura, California. So we golfed. So with Mary, with Robert, with Tommy, with Johnny, we just had the best time. And thank you for sharing your dad with us. And we're very grateful. Thank you.
That's great. Good to hear from you guys.
Thanks, Kirk.
Yeah. Let's see. Angela, anybody else in chat? I don't have my chat up.
Marla.
Oh, okay, Marla. Wait, Marla Carper? Marla who? Okay. Marla?
Can you hear me? I don't know if I'm turned on. My sister is working all this for me because I don't do well.
Yep, you're on. We can hear you.
Okay. Well, I just have a short story with Mike because I'm a very competitive person, and Mike's a little competitive also. And so over the years, with different trips we've been on and things, we've had different games and all that we played. One particular time, someone just mentioned cabin in Arnold. And we were there, Donahue family, our family. In fact, I think Lee and Marianne were there also, and their boys. So it's been quite a few years ago. But I remember a bunch of us started a Monopoly game, and it turned into a marathon. And the last two standing were Mike and I. And we went back and forth and back and forth. And we invented a few different rules along the way, too. But anyway, I won. And I have to tell you, I was the champion, and I reminded Mike of that quite often. And he always wanted a rematch. And I told him, each time I told him, why? I'm the champion. I ain't taking the chance. There's no way there's a rematch. And he was always after that rematch, which now we'll never play for sure. But I never would have agreed to anyway, because it was good to have one up on Mike. And I enjoyed it immensely. As I enjoyed Mike, he was fun. We had a good time harassing each other. So I know I will miss him greatly, and my condolences to the family. Wonderful family that he had. And that's about it. That's all I have to say. Nothing but good memories of Michael Patrick Donahue.
Thank you. Thank you, Marla. Now, is Ed there or no?
Well, Ed is, I'm guessing he's home watching it on the phone.
Oh.
We had trouble bringing him. And I told Ed, I said, that's it, I'm leaving. I'm going over to my sister's. I'm not going to miss this.
Okay.
My sister is here beside me doing all the things I don't know how to do.
Right.
I know Michael's brother, Ed is probably listening. And
Okay.
sorry he didn't come with me. Ha ha.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, I have to tell you, I love Mike Donahue, and that's just the way it was.
That's great, Marla. Long time no see, but thank you for your thoughts.
Right.
Well, at this point, we're getting to the end.
There's one more person who's been waiting.
Kudra.
Who's it? Go ahead, whoever.
Jackie, you're up.
That's me. Can you hear me right?
Go ahead.
Okay. For those of you who don't know, I'm Dan. I am Aunt Joan's older sister's son. And my family had the great pleasure of spending some time with my Uncle Mike over the years. I remember as a kid going to see Uncle Mike, who we affectionately called the Candy Man, at his warehouse. And he would, I'm sure much to my mother's displeasure, give us shopping bags and turn us loose in his candy factory, which was great as a kid. And then as I got older, took several trips to California with my family, and Uncle Mike and Aunt Joan were always wonderful hosts. And I do know he loved his motorhome. On one of our trips, our first trip out there, we had one child at the time, and he wanted to take my wife and I to Napa Valley to go wine tasting. There was, I think, 3 or 4 perfectly good cars available to drive, but he opted to drive his motorhome for just 3 people to Napa Valley. We had a great time. He led us on our wine tasting tour there. We bought some wine, which he promised he would ship back to us. Something happened in transit. The wine never made it back to us. I'm sure it was the post office. But anyway, he was a very competitive guy. I remember over the years, him and my mom playing AC-Deucey. And they were so competitive, they had trophies made. They had AC-Deucey winner and an AC-Deucey loser trophy. And he loved any time that he could beat my mom. And of course, it was hard for my mom to compete with Uncle Mike the Candy Man. So usually the kids were rooting for Uncle Mike. And he derived great pleasure from the fact that this is a picture from one of our second trips out there where my kids couldn't pronounce Lake Tahoe, so it became known as Lake Taco. And it's a picture of my family and Uncle Mike, and that picture has been in our house ever since then. And he derived great pleasure in pointing out to my mom that there was a picture of him in our house, but there was no pictures of my parents in our house. So those are just a few of my memories of Uncle Mike. And as my dog is joining the party here, great guy, wonderful host when my family would go out there, and he will be missed. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are kind words for certain. Yeah, Candy, and it's a very interesting thing with my brother that he had a lot of compassion, but if you sit down to play cards with him or play any game, I don't know what quite happened in his mind, but somehow it was, no, I'm going to win this, and I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to gloat about it the rest of my life. So that would be him for certain. So yeah, good. So we're coming to the end here. Heather, anybody else in there that needs to say anything? Okay, great. Mary or Noah, are you close?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Am I close to what?
Are you going to play the bagpipes?
Yes, I'm ready when you are.
Yeah.
It's going to take, there's like about a minute worth of setup we're going to do.
Okay. I have a few, I could certainly fill that. Yeah, go ahead and get it going. And you just don't unmute, just when you're ready, you start playing. How's that? Or mute.
Okay, so sorry. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, either way. Either way, it's fine.
So I'm going to be playing in the front yard. Unfortunately, we live by a freeway, so there's some background noise. But I also need to get Wi-Fi. So
that's okay.
All right, Liz. So let me.
So Noah's, we asked Noah to play, and he graciously said. So Noah really hasn't played the bagpipes in about 10 years. And says he's going to hang up the bagpipes after this point in time. I hope he doesn't do that. But anyway, it was gracious of him to do that, and we appreciate it. And then
mute it and don't put the camera on me.
And then after that, my wife's gonna sing Danny Boy if she can make it through it. And that's really gonna conclude the memorial. And so I appreciate everybody's input on this, and it turned out quite well. I'm very happy about everything. So anyway, I don't know. Noah's gonna get ready in about 30 seconds or so. This is a great picture. I think it's a great picture of Michael and Mike and Johnny, obviously, and at the down in Phoenix.
Flip the camera. How do you? There we go. All right, I'm ready to go. And again, it's been a decade. All right, people.
I explained that to him, Noah. I explained it to him.
Flip the camera.
Okay.
Oh. There's no background noise to that. You can't hear the traffic at all. I said you can't hear the traffic noise at all. No one was concerned about traffic noise.
In the backyard, I think he is. Well, you wouldn't hear it over this anyway.
Yeah, I don't think you would.
Good background light.
You need to mute.
From Gabe to me, you are not muted. Oh.
You want to warm up on mute. Oh, thank you, Noah. Your dad always, or your granddad always wanted to play the bagpipes. Thank God he didn't, but that was beautiful. Yeah, that was
That's
great.
the problem with bagpipes is that while you're getting good, you suffer. Your neighbors suffer. Their neighbors suffer. Their neighbors suffer. On.
Oh, that's great, though. They're great. Hey, if everybody else would mute, if they have not muted, and my wife's gonna sing Danny Boy, I'll change. Yeah, okay, she didn't want the camera on her, so, okay, go ahead, hon.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. 'Tis you must go and I must mind. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. It's I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love thee so. And when ye come, and all the flowers are dying, if I am dead, as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me. And I shall hear the soft you tread above me, and all my grief will warmer, sweeter be. And you will beg and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to
Well, that about does it.
Tom,
He'll be greatly missed, and we love him dearly. Yeah, Jim.
on a final thought, my wife and I have known the Lord Jesus Christ for 46 years. We've been praying for Mike and your families, all the kids and the grandkids. I had a personal word that was given to me the final hours before Mike passed away from the Lord. I do hear from God. God does speak. Heaven is real. And I know that Mike is in heaven. For those who want to believe that, that's beautiful. Those who might not know, I just want you to know, our love for him was so much in prayer. And even though it was hard for Mike to understand at times, he is in heaven, guaranteed.
Oh, thanks, Jim. Appreciate that. Well, I just want to thank everybody. The family is planning on doing a celebration of life, maybe in the fall, or we're not sure at this point. But we would like to do something in person, but there's lots of moving parts. But we just all want to thank you for being here, and it's I think it's been good for my soul. Hopefully everybody else's. So at that, I wish you all a goodbye and spread that joy of love and happiness. Bye.